This recorded session is our course orientation for the subject SMEDB 321LA, Immunology Laboratory. The course is intended for the section MEB 33. I am Arizaldo Castro and I will be your course instructor for the whole semester. We meet every Wednesdays at 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. So this is a one-unit laboratory, which is a co-requisite of your lecture class, your immunology lecture class. For this course orientation, a few talking points that I have to discuss include the overview of the subject, the requirements that are expected from you, the topics that we will cover for the course, your expectations, or a reminder on how I can be aware of your expectations as a class, and some of the implementing guidelines and rules that we have to follow as we conduct the subject all throughout the semester. Then at the end, I will provide some reference materials which are actually present in your syllabus also. So if you already downloaded a copy of your syllabus, you'll be able to see uh, the all the or everything that I'll be discussing are actually lifted from the syllabus. So you can go ahead and check your syllabus as I discuss or as you watch this recorded session. So the subject, Immunology Lab, is intended for you to be introduced to the fundamental components of the immune system and explain how such components interact to prevent infections caused by microbes such as bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. So in the lecture, a lot of the fundamental discussions will be given in the lecture. For the lab, we will try to we try to approach it in a way that you will be able to see how or you will be able to appreciate the application of the theories in setups like immunological tests, mga what do you call this, the context of disease diagnosis, no, and also some other virtual laboratory topics that we included in the syllabus. No? Aside from the technologies, aside from the disease diagnosis as key topics in our laboratory subject, okay, we are also going to cover or include in our discussion about regarding the I don't know regarding vaccine development. So probably you will touch this topic also in the lecture, but for the component of the lab, we also included some special provision or some special component of some of the modules that will work on or that will discuss on that topic on vaccine development. And then what else? So essentially, we will try to mirror your whatever you learn from the lecture. We will try to mirror that in using a different lens. No? So we use a more practical, more visual lens. Because immunology is really more of a physical science. Eh. If we are really practicing this in the lab, you'll be able to observe that a lot of things that we are going to do will, or a lot of the face-to-face designed modules or laboratory activities, for you to appreciate immunological concepts, you will see the physicality of the process, the physicality of the immunological concept. Okay. The next part, I'll be talking about myself. No, so I've been your instructor for a few subjects already. I was your instructor in general microbiology, and I'm also your current instructor for cell and molecular biology lecture. So I graduated from our university for my baccalaureate and my master's. And right now, I'm finishing my Doctor of Philosophy in Biology with specialization in micro at the University of the Philippines. I was able to work for the LSUD after graduating for 3 years. And then afterwards, I took a leave, or I did not continue teaching. I worked as a policy researcher, as a health systems researcher at the Department of Health for about 2 years, and then right now I'm back at teaching. So I handle subjects more on the molecular side, on the molecular sciences and the microbiological sciences. My grounding or my training as a scientist include bioinformatics and molecular phylogenetics. So um, uh, right now, I'm working on antimicrobial resistance in natural and built environments, especially aquatic bodies such as water bodies where we get our drinking water, the drinking water supply. Those are the things that I'm currently working on as a senior graduate student at our laboratory in UP Bio. Uh, Aside from my training on molecular sciences and microbiological sciences, I also have um, I also have undergraduate and graduate training on systems biology. So topics such as immunology, cell sciences, molecular sciences, as they are applied to animal health, to human health. In a way, I will be able to serve as a resource person, as an instructor for such topics. And finally, I'm also interested in doing impact assessment of health researches. So when I was with DOH, this is something that I have done for almost 3 years. So it's something very close to my heart. Aside from, or in addition to my specialty subjects in microbiology and molecular biology. Okay, so enough about me. Let's now proceed to the next topic. The course requirements. For the grading system, we follow the absolute grading system. So whatever you get for a specific assessment is computed against a total of that assessment. And there's no transmutation happening. So for an enabling assessment that's worth 10 points, if you get 5 points, you get 50% for that enabling assessment. For the last semesters, I'm sure that you are familiar with the grading system that we have followed for the longest time. So we follow the grading system in which your semestral grade is the average of your midterm and your final grade. And for each term, there are two components. Your enabling assessment will be 60% of your grade, and your summative assessment will be 40% of your grade. For the current for the current ruling, we have divided, or we have added class participation as a component of our grading system. So class participation is equivalent to 15% of your term grade. The enabling assessments are decreased to a percentage of 45, and summative assessments are still kept at 40%. So for class participation, this will include your attendance to synchronous meetings, your outputs for assessments that are tagged as class participation. Like, let's say I ask you to read something, I ask you to give your opinion about a statement, about a recent development in the field of immunology. I ask you to participate in a forum discussion. So those things are tagged as class participation. So they will be graded as is. So I'll grade them as 15%. No? Say I understand that if we will take this only from synchronous meetings, it will be very unfair on your part because not everyone will have the same internet connectivity. So I decided that that I will be grading 5% only for class attendance, and then 10% for other class participation activities. Mostly online engagement activities are class participation. Next, the laboratory requisites from you. So expect that I will be providing formative assessments, enabling assessments, and summative assessments. For formative assessments, these are tasks that are not graded. Okay. Some examples include reading assignments. So I provide you a book chapter, a journal article for you to skim or read. I ask you to visit an online web page, an online wiki page, and you read the content. Okay, that's one type of formative assessment. Another is forum discussion. So for it could be formative or probably pwede ko rin siya ilagay sa class participation depending on the gravity of the activity or the content that I want to get from you. And also film screening or video screening. Those are some examples of formative assessments and probably a lot more, no? Hindi pa natin alam totally kung ano pa yung mga pwede kong ibigay as formative assessments. For enabling assessments, these are graded work. They're graded outputs. So, we a while ago I was streamlining with other laboratory instructors for immunology, and we talked about the type of enabling assessments that we will provide to you guys. So, since this is a one-unit lab, to make your life easier, we decided that we will just provide one enabling assessment per term. I mean, per module. However, expect that such enabling assessment will be, of course, comprehensive. No, so some of the enabling assessments that we will decide to give could be laboratory worksheets, laboratory reports, or term discussion papers. Okay, so a total of there will be a total of five enabling assessments, one for each module that will be containing technical content. For summative assessments, we will these are graded assessments as well. Summative, so they are your ano no para siyang competency test, no? Summative competency test. We will give this, actually let me correct this. It's not every after two modules, ha. Your summative assessment will depend on the schedule that we provide to you in the syllabus. This is, I think, for the lecture. Anyway, the summative assessment will be a total of four, and each assessment will be 60 items in total. Okay? And that will be, of course, covering the modules that are discussed prior to the assessment. So for summative assessment one, that will cover probably modules two or three, or just only module two. No, depending on how will move, how fast we can move forward with the subject. Okay. Now, some of the assessments we may decide na we will give them to you as a group output. But since enabling assessments now are ano naman, minimal, probably we will require you to just submit individual outputs for your enabling assessments, so you can work on your own. Will the way that your competency will be assessed will be, of course, individually. So probably there's a very small chance that we will give group outputs unless it's a final term already. Okay. So for the course outline, there are six modules. The first module is for this week. We're just going to talk about the overview of our course. We talked about the course syllabus, course orientation. The next five modules are going to be technical modules. The second module is on Introduction to Immunology. We'll have a virtual laboratory for this module. Actually, for the next two, pati yung module 3, the cells of the immune system, we'll have a virtual laboratory on this. We found web resources that we can use to try to reinforce the laboratory competencies. And then for the next ones, we have disease diagnosis based on immune response. That's module number 4. So I'll also ask you to submit an enabling assessment for that. And then the last two are the final modules. For module number 5, immunological techniques, no, we'll have some virtual laboratory experience on doing an ELISA and a Western blot analysis. Then lastly, the final module is the culminating output for the subject, no, and on this module. We will ask you to group yourselves and carry out an output, a narrative output, no, that you need to write, or that you need to present. You need, probably, if the lecturer also agrees, we can combine this output with your lecture, but that's something that we are yet to discuss with your lecture professor. But for laboratory, the laboratory instructors agreed that we will provide, or that we will ask you to submit a written output, or will ask you to prepare a presentation output for the last module on applications and advanced technologies. Okay, so by this point, I'm sure that you have expectations since it's a new academic year. Feel free to let me know of your expectations through the self-introduction output. I included a self-intro assessment in your module number one. Dun sa, what do you call this, on the e-class that you will be automatically enrolled after you answer a transition survey. I think by this time you should have answered the transition survey. And the e-class that you are auto-enrolled in, that's our official e-class, the e-class that I will be using to facilitate class discussions. So please make sure that you let me know of the things that you want me to know, okay? So I want us to really have a fruitful 5 months or 4.5 months of learning. So at this point, it's a proper time to voice out the things that you want to voice out. Okay. Course policies. Ayan. So let's emphasize a few things. For enrollment, just to reiterate, the original class that you were enrolled in, those classes are created by the CILP. I did not create them. Okay, I did not create the e-class that you are in right now. The reason behind that is because the university wanted to automate the process of enrollment. So what happened is we as the faculty, we don't have the right or we don't have the capacity to manually add students to our e-classes. Kaya what I did for me, I created an official e-class where all your modules will be all your modules will be uploaded. And the current e-class that you are in right now, you have to finish answering the transition survey. So you will be automatically enrolled to the official e-class I created. So just to reiterate, I don't have any means of enrolling any of you guys dun sa ating official e-class. You have to be, it's the registrar, the CILP, that will automatically enroll you. And then after that, you just have to answer the transition survey so you get to be transferred dun sa official e-class that I will use. Okay? Um, Next, communication and feedback. So for this, we are using multiple platforms. We're using MS Teams for our synchronous meetings. We are using Schoolbook for content delivery, for output submission, for assessment, for summative and enabling assessments. Essentially, what we are going to do is we're going to follow the feedback model, the preview review feedback model, in which on my end, I will try to provide the module 1 week prior to the expected date. So you can have a preview of the module. And then during our synchronous meetings, we have our review of it. And then I will ask feedback from you in terms of how did you learn or what did you learn? How did you find the module? Is the content easy to be understood? Is the content what do you call this, appropriate for the module and things like that? And aside from of course that feedback, that kind of feedback, the assessments, the outputs are also a way for me to get feedback from you. The next course policy is on attendance. So I'm not going to be very particular about this, but since it's part of our class participation, then the only thing I can say is try your best to attend our synchronous meetings. But on my end, what I can offer is I will just give 5% for the attendance to synchronous meetings. And the other 10% will be for online engagement. Okay? Intellectual property naman, here we advise our students that they try as much as possible. They should try using original content, or if they're citing from a source, they have to cite properly. Okay, so your laboratory outputs, your reports, your worksheets, no, try as much as possible use original content, original drawings, original diagrams, original answers, okay? Because I remember in our general micro classes, I was able to find that some of you answered just by simply copy pasting from a source, and I was able to detect plagiarism. But yun nga, I don't want that to happen. Okay, so and for your learning, you really have to paraphrase. You really have to digest what you have read and then use it to answer a question that's being asked. Okay, so make sure that you cite properly and you paraphrase things. Other policies, ito pala. So for other policies, since part na nga ng ating class participation, yung attendance to synchronous meetings, I will be asking for the first 5 minutes that you guys open your cameras so I can validate that you are really there during our discussion. No, in fact, no, a thought just came into me this morning that probably it might help if if cameras are turned on while a lecture, a synchronous meeting is actually being done. Because I observed that in some of my in people that I know that what they do is they try to they ask their students na they keep their cameras on because the thing is they can sort of simulate yung nangyayari sa face-to-face classes na if your camera is turned on, your focus will be on the class, 'di ba? Na you have this feeling na you're being observed, and you can also see people, you can also see me, I can also see you, and things like that. Though on my end, I mean that's just a new idea, but of course I'm not going to impose that in our class. But it might probably be helpful. So it's something that probably you can explore as learners of the subject. But on my end, I won't be asking you to do that. Only for the first 5 minutes for me to validate that you are really there on in front of your computer or your laptop, your desktop, and you're really the one participating in the class. Other policies, aside from that, what else? Attire. So just make sure that you wear presentable clothes. So I'm not gonna require you to wear something that is semi casual or what. Just presentable clothes. Okay, that's it. For medium of instruction, we're going to use English. Okay? I can do code switching from time to time to emphasize things because I don't think you have any foreigner in the class. So I can do code switching naman. Pero I will still use English as my medium of instruction. Pre-lab, post-lab, every interaction that I will do with you, most of the time, I will use English. Okay? Some rules and reminders. Okay, I mentioned this already. Start the class on time. My request that you open your camera for attendance verification. And second, participation in class discussions. Okay, that's something that I hope I can get from you now that you are already third year students, and now that in a way class participation is part of the grading. So, because I really firmly believe that in extreme conditions like this, in which I cannot elicit yung participation, non-verbal participation, dahil we're not in the face-to-face setting, it would be a good that on your end, you will try to be proactive, you will try to, voice out whatever you think. Kasi for the longest time naman, I've been very open to the idea that you guys, tell me what you think about something, what you think about the topic at hand. So I hope that at this juncture in your undergraduate year, we can already practice active participation because it will be truly meaningful or it will be truly productive if you can engage yourself to our discussions. Okay? A third policy reminder is I do not tolerate any act of bullying in the class. Okay? If any one of you feels that he or she is being bullied, then please let me know. Kasi I will have no way of telling whether you're being bullied or not. No? Kasi wala naman tayong face-to-face interaction. So I don't have any means of I don't know, hindi ko makakapa if someone is being treated unfairly, someone's being ostracized for whatever stupid reason. So, um, let me know. No, I'll be one of the first persons that you can approach uh, in times where cases like this happen. Okay. Last reminder is academic dishonesty will be given special attention in my class. Okay. If there's something that if if any case is comes to my knowledge and I was able to validate it, I will directly endorse it to the student information office. Even though we have an evolving definition of what academic dishonesty is, still it's something that is definite. No, so any act that is not promoting fair acquisition of grades or fair accrual of scores can be considered as academic dishonesty. Okay, so I ask that since you are already seniors in your program, we have to be mindful of things like this, okay? Because your goal is to be professionals with proper training, and it's not only technical training that we are concerned about. We are also concerned about your character development, okay? And a person who got high scores in distance learning courses because he or she cheats all the time is a person with no character, no? And I don't, I don't want and that's an awful situation to be in. Okay. Okay, so last, how do I give exams? You're probably aware of this already, since we've had our previous classes before in general micro. So a mix of different question types will be given for enabling and summative. Actually, more for the summative assessments. Kasi nga, ang enabling natin for this lab mostly are laboratory reports and laboratory worksheets. Okay, I don't have consultation hours as of the moment. We haven't finalized our faculty loading. But as always, you can contact me anytime. Okay, I'll try to respond to you within 24 to 48 hours. But I've experienced a few cases in which your messages are routed to my archives or my unknown senders folder. So please let me know if you message me personally so I can check, because I will not check that folder all the time. But if the case is naging ganun nga, let me know through our group chat in Messenger so I can attend to your concern ASAP. All right, so you can contact me via email or via my work mobile number for urgent concerns only. Okay, but for non-urgent, please do email or chat me. Okay? For references, these are the things that we're going to use, mga web pages, web resources, and also reference materials that are available in the library. I am not sure if you can access ebooks using our institutional access points to different publishing companies. Probably you can, no? So if you can try to get your reference materials. I won't be very strict on the reference materials, unlike CMB LEC. Kasi sa CMB LEC naman, yung Becker's Wall of the Cell, that's a tried and tested material. So that's why I focus on that specifically. For our Immuno naman, I won't be strict on this because a lot of developments are already existing, are already adding by the day. So you can use whatever reference that you want to use. You can collect and read as much as you want. No? And if you found some interesting references or materials to be that can be read, please share them in our group, because that will be a good habit also, that you guys share interesting material that you read to your classmates, to me as their instructor. Okay, so I guess that's the end of my course orientation. Make sure that you answer our transition survey so you can be automatically enrolled to the official e-class that I created. Okay, that's it for this course orientation.